If you can call the meeting to order and then we'll elect a chair.
Call the meeting to order.
My used to elect it's
One
the single one.
people. Where
We just need to elect the chair from one of the three of you.
So I guess we're going to open the nomination for chair. Do we have any nomination for chairman for the policy committee? Something for. So, yeah.
So it said, Mike's, are we losing the chair?
No, this is
No,
for the
no.
policy committee.
For the committee.
This is a public, this is now.
Okay.
And
This is
so-
for the policy committee exclusively.
So we just need somebody to chair this single committee.
Right.
Barbara's not here, so I'll nominate Barbara.
Oh, it has to be one of the three of
Oh,
them.
No, I'd be happy to do it if you'd like.
There you go. Yeah, we'll do that then.
I've been wading through policy for a million years.
No, you might.
okay.
I nominate Mike for the policy committee.
I'll second that.
Okay, hearing any, no other, nominations, let's go ahead and vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The abstentions, hearing none. Mike is our chair. Here we go.
Happy to do it. So we do we want to walk through these one by one? I've been through them. Usually what I do is ask if there are any members of the cabinet that have concerns or important issues they want to point out about any of the policies.
Do the policies also include the board goals? No.
Yeah.
So Richard, just to give you a summary of the board policies here is twice a year, typically OSBA sends us a packet of board policies that have been updated for legislation. And so some of them are as simple as changing his, her, their, or fixing typos or minuscule stuff. And the email that I sent you had a link to a file folder that had all the Word documents in them, and it had all the original track changes in them so that you can see what they sent us. And then in the board book, it shows what HR, what the superintendent is proposing if there is choices to be made. Otherwise, everything in these policies are pretty much led by legislation. And then some internal policies might change policy to policy. Anything else to add to that, Mike?
No, but yeah, just a reminder, as the legislature goes through changes in law, we have to respond through changes in policy as educational organizations. And that's what we do with the help of OSBA. We used to have to do it without, so it's very nice to have that extra legal help.
And these are policies that are already in place. There's just been some slight changes.
Yeah.
In various places. So all this verbiage is not new.
I didn't see anything about choices to reason. Hey,
So there is DJ policy DJ. If you'd like me to go there, I can present that one to you all.
yes, what you
It would be great for you all to make recommendations to the full board. So DJ is our purchasing policy. It's like the big overarching purchasing policy. And there is a paragraph in it. 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth paragraph, and the history behind this is, I believe when we did all of our construction projects, our policy for procurement, which is at DJC. JC. is, it's 150,000 for board approval. And then, but this policy wasn't changed along with that one. And so, right now, what is happening is I get, request for purchases over 50,000, which in this day and age is becoming quite common.
Yeah.
So I have this policy that says I have to share it with you, and then I have another policy that says I don't have to do anything until 150,000. And so it would be helpful for our fiscal system and the office of the superintendent, to have, some unification of that language. So you have two options. One is the 150,000 to match the JC, and the other is a language that we found in another ESD, which is as long as we are making purchases that are in the budget that you approved in June, then the board has approved purchases via that budget. I don't have to bring anything back to you or share. So I wanted to give you the option. Doesn't matter to me either way. My only hope is that the 150 and 150
Yeah.
match, so I don't have to keep processing.
I give it some thought, I agree.
Yeah.
So that's where we go. And I don't like to have things not brought to us, when I have to determine that, as a board member, it's kind of all we.
Yeah, well, per policy, you say up to this amount, as long as, you know, it's within the budget and all of those. We obviously have lots of laws around purchasing that we follow. But this is just as far as communication. And I will say, in the last year, I've had, compared to my first 2 years, a lot more 50,000. Hitting the threshold of that, 50,000.
Normally, I'd like to see it be in line with what the other.
The 150.
Absolutely.
So that's option one, it would match DJC and DJ, and then anything over 150,000, I would share with the board. And then option two is just worded a little differently, that again, as long as it was in the budget, you know, like as long as we had $51,000 in the budget for consumable purchase in Holland's budget. I can use the numbers, but I won't. It's approved because you approved that budget.
And we'll do we adopt option number one.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
So then what will happen is when we go back in the board meeting and we are talking, we'll have, Mike be the chair of this.
We'll adopt it then.
You
We'll
will
recommend it. It's a first reading, right?
recommend it, and then in the next meeting, it'll be in the consent agenda.
Next meeting. Okay.
Right.
All right.
So you hit the 50,000 mark quite often for coming up.
More so.
Would there be, my problem is 150. I mean, granted, we've got a huge budget. I understand that. But I couldn't see anything more than 100,000, but I don't know yet. If you had said 150, I was gonna pop out with 100,000 to double what you already have to see if that clears up any problems you had. It's no aspersion or anything else. I just, the other boards I'm on, I don't, when they start slinging numbers like that around, it's like, one of the boards, we lost $25,000 once because of something that shouldn't have happened. With that board is the last once. So it hurt bad. And no aspersion, but I would have gone up to 100.
And I would just like to be sure, I'm not trying to sway your decision on that, I just want to make sure that you are comfortable in knowing that the BJC policy has very strict guidelines for purchasing, so anything up to $25,000 is, we go through best practices. Anything from 25 to 150,000, we have to get 3 quotes. And we have to have a scope of work, and then they are reviewed, and then there's a summary to put together, and the supervisor that is
So it's not a fly-by-night decision, okay.
No, we're informed throughout the process. We will be informed throughout the process of any of those kinds of large undertakings.
As soon as we get $25,000, change the procedures.
That's where DJ's pyramid kicks into play. So 150,000, I would be coming to you with what?
A lot, there's a lot of steps between.
Yes.
I think 150,000 initiates a public.
We're gonna vote on it. We're gonna recommend.
Okay,
So Mike, you will be the official recommender as the chair of the committee.
And we're okay with the number one option. It seems like the most logical to me.
We're all in consensus.
Okay, good deal.
All
Were there any others of the policies that anyone wanted to note from the cabinet?
Do policies also affect the budget? One of my deal, because I saw a single line item on here that I thought should have been a little bigger than what it is. It's 405 on the budget, sorry, 406. It's behavioral workshop. There was hardly any money going to that, and I'm like, my past life behavioral workshops were really important, were things that we send people to.
So I want to respond because you asked a really good question about how the policies are reflected in the budget. And basically our policies guide our budgeting process to a degree when we're making decisions about how we're going to spend money, but the two aren't interrelated, which is to say we're not going to make a policy decision per se that's going to impact spending. We could, but it's not the usual way of things.
Policy is the instructions for how we go about expenditures and revenue and all of that. It's my blueprint of how we accept grants and all that sort of stuff. But it's, as Mike said, the budget is the difference. All this is like the budget operations.
So let's take up during the main meeting.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
One thing I did see is that two of these, that sometimes when you sit down at a table with parties eight or more, mandatory.
It should have been 20%, but I'm not remembering correctly.
It's say 15.
On the $50 gifts, boy, that's like nothing anymore. That's, I would have moved that
Yeah,
up.
deals in eating.
It's been
75
that
or
way.
100.
It's been that way forever. It was that way when I was a superintendent 20 years ago.
The recommended a lot. Recommended a lot.
Basically, you can't take anything. You don't let anybody buy you a pop. That's it.
Yeah,
So Mike, on
Yeah.
page 26 of the board book on the DLCAR policy, line number 4 has 15% gratuity, so we'll be recommending that be 20%, and that's what will be reflected in the consent agenda.
Okay.
That was my mistake.
but if that puts you over on the amount you're able to spend.
Well, that's not.
So, yeah, so we, the board updated the policy, I think last year that, depending where you're at is the amount we spend. So if you're in Douglas County, it's lower than if you're in.
Gotcha.
So we follow, if there's a fancy name for it, it's the GAR, federal GSA.
There you go.
So, yeah, so as long as, so staff, and it's per diem, so staff identify, oh, I'm gonna make breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then they just get that amount, they order a $25 and they order a $35 steak, the difference is on it.
I
Yeah,
understand that.
they order $5 there is still.
The Department of Interior had us $300 a month less here in Roseburg than in Utah. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's, cause we used to just have a standard rate, and so when folks were traveling, especially out of state. Creates like There is an advantage there. Grateful to the board for approving that.
That's really nice.
Good catch.
Yes, okay.
Anything else?
No,
Oh.
I was glad to see the update to directory information, but it all looks great to me.
POVs, sorry, what do they call it? Yeah, it's still, it's POV, private owned vehicle. Staff will use, ESD vehicles only if, on business. Don't know that staff goes on business.
Our staff?
oh, yeah.
Well, your staff, okay.
Yes.
So, how are the vehicles? Do we have enough? Do we, are they allocated the money enough to maintain them? That was one of the things I don't remember going through.
Yeah, so we, and Venice would be a better one to talk to about that, but we do have a, an annual, distribution that goes into a fund for new vehicles.
Okay.
We just recently purchased a couple new vehicles for the EI program, so the folks are going out doing the home visits and such. We have a shared car here that seems to be working. Was it 6-7 months ago? We did an analysis on mileage and our uses, versus leasing new vehicles, doing a fleet program and maintenance, and we had a great big overview, and it was still cheaper for us to maintain what we have. The programs agreed that we should stay status quo, and so that's what we're doing until something changes.
So we have the Jackson County, but yeah, out of the office. Route.
That's a lot of trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jackson County has their own.
All right, and I assume they have a 4x4 to get over the passes in winter.
They have a Prius.
Is it four-wheel drive? Kidding.
All right.
So since these are recorded now, I would like to go ahead and end this meeting, Mike, and then stop my recording, and then we can begin our new recording for our new meeting.
Yep, I will accept motions for dismissal.
All moves go, this subcommittee, all concurring.
I second it.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. We are in adjournment. Thank you.
Thank you.